A week before the wedding, Ethan's ex-girlfriend called. "Ethan, I'm at the Moonlight. If you don't come, I'm sleeping with someone else." Ethan wavered for a moment but quickly regained his composure. He didn't go. However, my doubts lingered. I pretended nothing was wrong, but the next day, he went to see her. Just as I'd expected. I collected a stack of evidence. I called his arch-rival. "Will you marry me?" "Why wouldn't I?" "Just watch me." Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel and let us know where you're listening from in the comments. At 9 that night, I was still on the couch, using my laptop to research honeymoon destinations. Suddenly, the phone rang insistently. I walked over and saw it was Ethan's phone ringing. Ethan was showering at the moment. I figured since we were getting married, there were no secrets between us. I picked up Ethan's phone. It kept vibrating and ringing. The caller ID showed an unknown local number. As soon as I answered, the loud music and cheering crowds made me frown. I wondered if a drunk person had dialed the wrong number. Just as I was about to hang up, a choked female voice spoke, and I paused. Curiosity gets the best of people, and I was no exception. I wanted to hear what she had to say. "Ethan, I regret it. I know you still love me, you don't want to marry Luna, do you? You're just trying to make me jealous, right? I know I made a mistake, please come to me. This time, I promise I'll stay with you." She spoke rapidly, and my heart sank. Gossip isn't so funny when it's about you. After she finished, the other person seemed to move into a quiet environment, and neither of us spoke. Who was she? Ethan's ex-girlfriend? But was about to get married, what was the point of her calling now? Was she trying to get back together? That was utterly shameless. I met Ethan at a corporate mixer. He wore a suit and glasses, his features sharp and defined, and he carried himself with an affable demeanor. "When we start dating, he mentioned past relationships, but said they were all in the past. He told me he only loved me now." I gripped my phone, my gaze fixed on the honeymoon search results on the computer screen. Suddenly, I felt lost. Whose call was that? Ethan, wearing a bathrobe, appeared before me. He was drying his wet hair with a towel as he approached. I stared at him intently, and under his questioning gaze, I put the call on speakerphone. "I'm Ethan's assistant. He just finished a meeting and is out now. You can talk to him." There was a brief pause on the other end before she spoke. "Ethan, I'm at the Moonlight right now. If you don't come, I'm sleeping with someone else in an hour." Ethan froze, a flicker of guilt in his eyes, but he quickly regained his composure, took the phone, and hung up. I looked at him, saying nothing. "She's probably drunk and dialed the wrong number, just ignore it. Don't answer calls from unknown numbers in the future." She had said his name and my name accurately, so how could it be a wrong number? Ethan thought for a few seconds and then said, "Honey, I'll call a friend. We can't let her stay in that shady place, what if something happens?" I nodded. He made a call, and from the conversation, it seemed he was asking a friend to take his self-proclaimed ex-girlfriend away from the bar. After hanging up, he smiled and told me, "Honey, I have work tomorrow, I'm going to head to bed." My suspicions didn't fade. If he really... I am a decisive person, I won't settle, nor do I want to be part of a love triangle. I knew that once entangled in such a situation, I would be the one to suffer. I couldn't endure the uncertainty and the potential feeling of betrayal. It would make me lose myself, becoming fragile and confused. The next morning, he wasn't home. I used my phone's tracking app and found him at a hotel. An indescribable realization dawned on me. My intuition told me things were far more complicated than they appeared. So, I called Ethan's arch-rival. The moment the call connected, I took a deep breath, trying to make my voice sound firm and strong. I asked the question, "Will you marry me?" The other person was silent for a moment, then, with a hint of excitement in his voice, he replied, "Why wouldn't I? Just watch me." I could detect surprise and a touch of challenge in his tone, as if I had some expectations, or perhaps it was just my imagination. After agreed on the phone, he quickly arrived at my location. When he saw me, my eyes were a bit red and swollen, and I looked rather drawn. He frowned, glanced at me, then quickly pretended nothing was amiss. His tone was calm. I had expected him to ask why I was changing grooms so close to the wedding. I also expected him to mock me. I was prepared for anything, but he didn't ask a single question. He simply told me, "If you need help, just say the word." Suddenly, I suggested, "Help me find a private investigator, as quickly as possible." Less than an hour later, Julian handed me a file folder. I looked through the documents, and my suspicions were confirmed. This private investigator was truly thorough, having dug up every detail of Ethan's life, from childhood onward. I looked at Julian suspiciously, but he lowered his head, pretending to check his phone. Never mind, it wasn't a big deal anyway. Since we were putting on a show, we had to go all out. After I signed a prenuptial agreement, we made it official at the courthouse. On the way home, Julian turned to look at me for the umpteenth time. Finally, I couldn't help it. I turned and glared at him. If you want to ask something, just ask. Don't be so coy, it's not like you. If you weren't looking at me, how would you know I was looking at you? Julian mumbled quietly. At that moment, the red light glowed, and he stopped the car. I said, crash the wedding to take the bride on the wedding day. Julian paused, then laughed playfully. Now that's going to be a show. On the eve of the wedding, I appeared unusually calm, even suggesting we go live, letting viewers across the country witness our happy moment. I imagined the viewers on the other side of the screen, perhaps expecting a romantic wedding live stream, unaware they were about to witness a dramatic turn of events. Finally, the wedding day arrived, long awaited by everyone. Ethan and I walked down the aisle together. Sunlight streamed through the tall windows onto the red carpet, like a golden path laid out just for us. Friends and family beamed with happy smiles, while my heart was filled with irony. I looked at Ethan, impeccably dressed in his tuxedo, smiling, but I felt no warmth from him. I wondered to myself, would he still be smiling later? When the officiant asked, Ms. Luna, do you take Ethan to be your husband, to have and to hold, from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, until death do you part? I remained silent. The officiant and guests seemed to hold their breath, waiting for my answer. I felt time itself freeze, everything around me blurred, only Ethan's expectant yet nervous face remained clear before my eyes. The officiant repeated the question, but I still didn't respond. Viewers of the live stream and the guests present began to murmur. I heard whispers, sensing the curiosity and confusion around me. Ethan's brows were tightly knit, his eyes revealing a hint of anxiety he tried to conceal. He gently tugged my hand, his voice low and urgent. Luna, what's wrong? This is our wedding. A sarcastic smile curved my lips. I took the microphone offered by the officiant, took a deep breath, and then announced loudly, I do not. The entire hall erupted in an uproar, guests whispering and looking at me in shock. I exhaled deeply. I looked at Ethan, he seemed to realize something, his face darkening. He pulled my shoulder, his voice trembling. Luna, what are you doing? Don't make a scene. We can talk about this at home. Do you? You want everyone to laugh at us? I gripped the microphone, my gaze firm and resolute, and loudly interrupted him. Please play the video. As my words fell, the big screen began to play a shocking video, intimate photos and videos of Ethan and another woman, including some in bed. I watched the images on the screen, feeling neither sorrow nor bitterness. I had once looked forward to marrying him. I thought I was the happiest person in the world, never imagining it was all a delusion. The audience gasped again, a cacophony of voices. I stood there, listening to the commotion. I'm not one to tolerate betrayal. Once I discover it, I will never choose to forgive. Since this relationship was already tainted, I should decisively let it go, no matter how precious it once was. I'd rather face the future alone than continue to compromise and spend my life with him. At that moment, Julian appeared, dressed in a groom's tuxedo, followed by 2 bodyguards. They took Ethan away, one on each side. With irrefutable evidence, Ethan's face turned mottled, a sickly gray that revealed his profound helplessness. He opened his mouth, as if to argue or explain something, but faced with the undeniable facts, he found himself speechless, not knowing where to begin. Ethan and his family, under the strange gazes of everyone, felt immense shame and embarrassment. They lowered their heads, covering their faces as they secretly left. The wedding was rescheduled. That night, after showering, I was lying on the bed in my silk pajamas. My best friend texted me. The online gossip is overflowing. The corp is embroiled in such a scandal, their stock has plummeted. Well, he deserved it, for having his cake and eating it too. But I'm curious, how did you convince Julian? I can't believe he actually helped you. So, what's going to happen on your wedding night? Come on, spill the tea to your bestie. My fingers tapped away. Ethan's arch rival is Julian. I figured he'd agree, since it makes his opponent's life miserable. It's just an act. As for your dirty thoughts, you can dump those out. Ugh, boring. Just then, my phone was pulled away. I turned my head and saw Julian, bare-chested with a towel wrapped around his waist, appear in my vision. He scrolled through the messages, then tossed the phone aside. He lowered his head and gazed at me, water droplets from his hair tracing lines down his cheeks. I looked up at him, his sharp jawline, his Adam's apple subtly moving, his firm chest, and his abs, which looked rather tempting in the lamplight. I instinctively turned my head away, my throat feeling dry. I cleared my throat twice, a blush creeping into my earlobes. I still tried to maintain my composure and said, you should dry your hair. Water's dripping on me. I pushed his chest, it was firm and elastic. I couldn't resist giving it a little squeeze. He let out a surprised ouch, which startled me, and my hand slipped, pulling his bath towel down. I've seen too much. I covered my face, my cheeks instantly burning. Although and I were living together, we had never crossed any lines. He always wrapped himself up securely after showering. This was the first time I had directly seen a man's. Julian's eyes darkened, a hint of danger in them. I sensed something was wrong and tried to run, but he encircled my wrists and pinned them above my head. How can our wedding night be just an act? Now be good, I'll be gentle. What followed was the ensuing passion. I felt like a small boat adrift on the ocean, rising and falling, lost to time. When I woke up again, my whole body ached, and I felt utterly deflated. I reached out beside me and only felt smooth, delicate skin that was wonderful to the touch. I froze and turned my head. I saw Julian, lying on his side, smiling at me. Feels good, doesn't it? I pulled my hand back and gave a sheepish smile. When I tried to get up, it hurt. My back ached, and other places felt tingly. My face contorted into a grimace. I'll give you a massage. I lay face down on the bed, burying my face in the pillow. Julian slowly massaged me, with just the right amount of pressure. I was enjoying it, but gradually, the position of his hand shifted, and I felt something was off. I immediately slapped his hand away. He pinned me to the bed, unable to move, and whispered in my ear, "Luna, one more time." My scalp tingled instantly. He lightly kissed my earlobe. Startled, I jabbed him hard with my elbow. He released me. "You animal. I'm still hurting. Yesterday was my first time." "All right then, honey, we'll save it for next time." I changed the subject. "I need to go to the office." "Okay, honey, I'll drive you." At the entrance of the office, Julian said he'd get me breakfast and told me to wait, but showed up instead. He looked a bit haggard. It seemed he was having a hard time. When he saw me, Ethan's eyes lit up. I just felt it was bad luck, like seeing something dirty, and lifted my foot to leave. Ethan took 2 long strides and blocked my path. He grabbed my wrist, pleading in a low voice, "Luna, I know I messed up. Don't all men make mistakes? Please forgive me, okay? I'll get down on my knees, you'll forgive me, right?" Ethan looked at me hopefully. "Whatever." Ethan froze. Seeing him stunned like that, I knew he was just putting on an act. How could I have been so blind to fall for someone like him? I sneered, "Didn't you say you'd kneel? Then kneel. I'll make space for you." Ethan gazed at me with deep affection. "Luna, if I kneel, will you forgive me?" Me. After all this, how could he have the nerve to ask for my forgiveness? I couldn't help but kick him. He yelped in pain and released my hand. Just then, Julian returned. He landed a punch that sent Ethan stumbling back a few steps. His eyes were full of rage. "Get lost, you pathetic excuse for a man. Are you trying to harass my wife?" Ethan's eyes were filled with malice, glaring intently at Julian. Julian handed me the briefcase he'd bought. I took it and glanced down. Then they started fighting. Me. That woman, Chloe, rushed over. Ethan was being beaten by Julian. She was heartbroken and turned to accuse me. "Ms. Yen, you're just watching them fight over you, aren't you delighted? Ethan was only forced to be with you because of your relentless pursuit. He suffered every day, didn't you see that? Now that he's finally free, why are you still bothering him?" Chloe indignantly said, drawing murmurs from the onlookers. I curled my lips. How dare she act so righteously and accuse me? "You're quite good at twisting facts, you can make the dead sound alive. Ethan and I were about to get married, and you still tried to seduce my fiancé, inserting yourself between us. And now you're publicly slandering me? You've got some nerve. Besides, I'm working at my own office, how am I bothering him?" Chloe quickly explained, "Ethan and I have known each other for a long time. If it weren't for you, we would have been together already. You were the one who interfered between us. How can you accuse me like that?" Her acting was quite impressive, her eyes welled up with tears. I rolled my eyes at her. "You don't need to put on a show for me. Everyone can see the truth, and besides, I'm married now, to Julian. I won't fight you for Ethan. He's trash. If you want him, take him." With that, I grabbed Julian and left. Today was not a good day for work. As we passed Ethan, he still didn't give up. He stammered in a hoarse voice, "Luna, I'm hurt, can't you?" If it were before, I would have comforted and cared for him. Just a while ago, when he got drunk, I was the one who took care of him and made him a hangover remedy. But now, things were different. Ethan, don't make me look down on you. Since you dared to do it, you must face the consequences. No one will wait for you. Can't you see your little girlfriend is about to cry? You even slept with her 2 days ago, why don't you comfort her? Julia Ann chuckled, tsk, it's true, once you get something, you stop cherishing it. We quickly got into the car and left that troublesome place. A couple of days later, Julian left for a business trip. My life didn't change much. The only annoying thing was Ethan, who seemed to have lost his mind. He neglected his office and blocked my path every day. One day, as usual, I left the office and had just stepped out of the parking garage elevator. My hand was grabbed, startling me. It's me, Luna. Ethan stared intensely at me. What exactly do you want? I demanded, my voice full of anger. We used to get along well, and he had a gentlemanly demeanor. I used to have a good impression of him. But now, I despised him more and more. Luna, I know you and Julian are just putting on an act, to make me jealous, to get back at me. Let's meet halfway. You divorce him, I'll break it off with her, and we can get back together, okay? How had I never noticed how thick-skinned he was before? After all this, how could he possibly think I'd still want him? Please understand one thing, you cheated, which is why I don't want you anymore. Julian and I are legally married, whether we divorce or not is none of your business. Don't be angry, I know you're still mad at me. Ethan said, talking to himself, smiling at me with a helpless expression. I came today mainly to tell you that Julian isn't over his head, his company is having problems. Don't let him use you. Ethan finished speaking and left. I pondered the truth of what he said. Julian had indeed been very busy lately, but his abilities were clear for all to see. Even though he grew up outside the family's influence and was a latecomer to the business world, he took over the family conglomerate and turned it into a Fortune 500 company. He wasn't someone who could be easily defeated. It was probably some trouble stirred up by his family members. Wealthy families always have their share of drama. I had a bit of a headache. Ethan was too annoying, and my current project was also nearing its completion, so I decided to go on a trip for a while. After some time, he wouldn't bother me anymore. I texted Julian, telling him I was going away and sending him my itinerary. He said he'd come home once he finished his work. I ignored him and had a great time for half a month. As I was nearing home, I suddenly felt a sharp pain in my neck, and then darkness. When I heard the sound of ocean waves, I knew something was wrong. I opened my eyes and found myself on a cliff overlooking the ocean, and the woman before me was Chloe. A feeling of both absurdity and helplessness washed over me. Why are you doing this? You were admitted to an excellent program and your future was bright. Is it really worth it, just for Ethan? My hands were bound, and behind me was a sheer drop. Chloe stood before me. I didn't dare struggle and tried to reason with her. But she didn't see it that way, her demeanor was almost manic. She pulled out a knife and gestured with it across my face. You wouldn't understand. You come from a well-off family, live a happy life, received the best education, and had the finest teachers. As for me, I was born into a family that favored sons. All I had was endless toil every day. How can you be so lucky, born into such a privileged family? She raised her hands and laughed foolishly. Look at my hands, they've tilled the earth, pulled weeds, and become so rough. My parents despised me for being a girl, I was almost married off. It was Ethan who appeared in my life like a beacon of light that pulled me out of the mire. He was such a good person, he didn't care that I was covered in dirt, gently treated my wounds, and took me away. That's when I secretly vowed I would become excellent so I could stand proudly by his side. For a moment, I was speechless. While I felt sympathy for her, I couldn't truly empathize, as I hadn't experienced a life like hers. To get closer to Ethan, she became excellent, started to dress herself up, and tried every way to get his attention. She had finally gotten close to him, only for me to steal him away. It was understandable that she would be angry, but why? What does that have to do with me? Besides, Ethan and I have already broken up. Chloe's eyes burned with hatred for me. You're already married, no longer pure, so why does he still come after you? What exactly did you do? Because he's despicable. Chloe paused, then burst out laughing. Perhaps. I'm not reconciled, so I've designed a game. I want him to remember me forever. She walked up to me and stood beside me. I want to see which of us two Ethan will choose. At that moment, I truly wished I could kill Ethan. All because of his scheming, I was now facing this survival challenge. When I arrived at the airport, I had sent a message to Julian, and he said he was home, so he should have realized I was missing by now. Time ticked by slowly. I took deep breaths to keep myself calm. Chloe, let me go, and I promise I'll stay far away from him. If you want to marry him, I'll help you. Chloe sneered, a blank check. Do you think I'll fall for that? If chooses me, then you die. If he chooses you, I'll drag you down with me. She was truly insane. Soon, I saw a group of people approaching from the front. Hope ignited in my heart, my gaze fixed intently forward. Ethan's figure appeared in my line of sight. However, my hope was fleeting, replaced by disappointment. Immediately after, I noticed Julian also appeared behind the crowd. Honey, Julian. The moment Julian stepped onto the scene, Chloe held the knife to my throat. Besides, over a dozen people followed behind him. Make them back off. If you dare to hurt her, you'll face the consequences. Even if you die, I'll make sure you find no peace in eternity. Ethan's brows furrowed, and he stepped forward. Chloe, put down the knife. I'll go with you to turn yourself in. Ethan's action undoubtedly added fuel to the fire, further enraging Chloe. Sure enough, Chloe's grip tightened. Blood began to slowly trickle down the blade. Julian's eyes flashed with fury. With a nod, his bodyguards quickly subdued Ethan. You never anticipated that your scandalous affairs would cause the Vance family's company stock to plummet, and their funding to dry up. So you tried to conspire with those shareholders who were dissatisfied with me, attempting to frame me with charges of tax fraud and evasion. On one hand, you could bring me down, and on the other, you could use Luna's company to save yours. Quite the clever scheme, wasn't it? Julian looked down disdainfully at Ethan, who was kneeling on the ground. You already knew Chloe would kidnap her, so you played along, trying to stage a hero saves the damsel act. Even if she wouldn't stay with you, by saving her, you could at least protect yourself if your company truly fell into trouble. Am I wrong? His words brought a sudden realization. Indeed, he loved no one. For his own gain, he could use anyone. Chloe was nothing more than a pawn on his battlefield. I glanced at Chloe. She was gazing at Ethan with a deluded expression. Just then, I saw someone in front pull out a gun. Were they police? I slightly averted my head. At that moment, Ethan, perhaps intending to throw caution to the wind, shouted, I choose Luna. Upon hearing this, Chloe's eyes revealed sadness. She immediately dragged me backward. At that point, the police shot her. She fell backward, plunging into the sea. I clutched my neck, gasping for breath. Julian ran to me and embraced me. Perhaps the day's events had left me mentally strained. As I passed out, I seemed to see my past self from years ago. Years ago, I saw a scrawny boy being beaten by a group of people. He was outnumbered, so I called 911 and had him sent to the hospital. Turns out, I'd known him much longer than I realized. In high school, I remember my best friend mentioning that the Hayes family had found their long-lost biological son. I just didn't pay much attention back then. When I woke up, I was in a hospital room. The stark white was blinding. I closed my eyes and slowly recovered. Then I heard the door open, and someone sat down by the bed. I opened my eyes and looked at Julian. He hugged me tightly, his movement gentle yet solemn. Thank goodness you're okay. His voice carried the panic of having lost and found me again. As he held me, his scent filled my nostrils. He told me Chloe had fallen into the sea, and her body hadn't been found. Ethan was sentenced for kidnapping and illegal business competition. He would likely spend the rest of his life in prison. When I had recovered enough, I decided to move in with my parents. Julian was so clingy, he always rushed over to my place after work. I was lounging lazily on the couch, one foot propped on my knee, when Mom gently patted my head. Try to act like a lady. No lady lies around like that. Lately, Dad and I think Julian is quite a good catch, and he treats you very well. Don't mess things up. I sat up straight and gently touched my belly. I pulled out a pregnancy test result. Don't worry, he's not getting away. Mom's eyes immediately lit up when she heard that and looked closer at the test result. Her smile grew even brighter. Dad, our daughter's pregnant. Julian walked in and, hearing the news, was overjoyed. He grinned at me conspiratorially. Honey. I looked at Julian's triumphant expression and couldn't help but laugh. You're celebrating too soon. We still have a lot to prepare. He sat next to me and held my hand. Yes, honey, you're right. We need to start decorating a cozy little space for the baby. Mom listened nearby, her face beaming with a happy smile. You too, always giving us something to worry about. But seeing you both so happy, I'm at ease. Dad walked out of the study and, hearing our conversation, joined the discussion. We won't interfere much with you young P.E. Opal's affairs. But if you need help, just let us know anytime. Julian nodded gratefully. Thank you, Mom and Dad, we will. I leaned on Julian's shoulder, my heart filled with anticipation and joy. Our lives are about to turn a new page. Thank you for listening to today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.